James Brown. Welcome back to Tell Me About It. We are here to talk to Caverna High School boys basketball coach Steve Barker in his first season with the Colonels. But you guys are rolling along pretty well so far. Had a pretty good season so far. What do you think's been the key to your success so far this coach?
Well, I think for the most part, all these I have a young team, and they've bought in. They understand that the coaching staff, myself, and my other two assistants I really care about them as a kid. It's not all about wins and losses. It is, but at the same time, these boys need to know that you care about them as individuals, and I think they realize that, and I think they appreciate it, and they've laid it out on the line for us this year.
You mentioned you have a young team. I mean, you're kind of leaning on, at this point, 3 freshmen, a sophomore, and 1 senior, right?
Yeah. I'll talk about our freshmen first. Jalen Crane, I think, I've got him, I think, one of the top point guards in the region. Very quick, he has a ton of experience as a freshman, played some his 7th and 8th grade year, and that's always helpful. And then the 2 twins, I've got, I call them twins.
I think everybody does.
Twins, their numbers are 2 and 4. I call them twin 2 and twin 4. But they, they're football players, and they're physical and they're strong. And when people see them, they don't realize that they are freshmen. And very physical players. And then we jump to Dez. Dez is a junior. Dez Rowlett, and he had a nice night last night. He hit 6 threes last night for us in Somerset, and then we go to Meek Atir. He a senior, another one with a ton of experience, and so they've all blended in, and we've had a really nice season.
Yeah. Now you guys have the district tournament coming up in a couple of weeks. I believe you're playing Greene County in the first round. Beating them both times you played them this year, if I'm not mistaken. What are the keys to being successful in that first round game, which is the elimination game?
It is the elimination game. All these every coach you talk to, that's probably the most important game of the year. And I've been on both sides of wins and losses in districts across the state, and those are huge. And held at a fantastic facility. I'd never seen Hart County before till we played over there this year. What a beautiful place to play. And, we were successful there. I like the fact that we're playing on a neutral floor where we don't have to play Hart at Hart.
Right.
That was one thing I was really concerned about, because they do play well in that building. Sweeping Greene this year, we played them real early, and then we played them about 3 weeks ago, and played well both places. And unfortunately we had our floor was ruined over Christmas break with a burst pipe, and so we've had to play at the elementary school, and that was a little different probably for Greene too, because they had never played in the elementary gym before, and we jumped on them pretty quick, and but they've been playing really well. So we're going to have to be ready and be prepared.
Who are some players for Greene that you're going to have to make sure you don't let get loose on you?
Well, I forget his name. He wears number 24, the wing player that's about 6'6". Nice player. He's averaging in the 20s. We did a really good job on him both times. Put a little smaller player on him, more physical, and just try to disrupt him a little bit. He's not really a three-point shooter, but he likes to penetrate and get in the lane. Then their point guard is a big, thick kid that is not real flashy, but he's got that football body, and you got to be concerned with that just because of his physical play.
Tony?
What are some of the things that you think that you've improved on from the beginning of the season up until now? And for those of us who haven't watched Caverna as much all season, what are some of the things that you think are the strengths of the team?
Well, I think from the beginning of the season, with me being new, they had to get to know me, and I had to get to know them. I had them in summer ball for only 7 games, And so, because I got the job so late in the summer, and we were real successful this summer, but summer ball and regular season ball are two totally different animals. Summer ball is more lax, more AAU feel. You go somewhere and you play 3 games in a day, and it's important to win. But if you don't, you say, well, we're working on this and we're working on that. But I think the familiarity with me and me with them is the key. And they've got to learn to trust me. I got to learn to trust them. And I think that's been a big reason for our success. Is I like them and they like me. And in some situations that doesn't happen. And then as far as seeing us this year, we're up tempo. We like to press. Only probably 3 different times this year where we were unable to press the whole game, just for the simple fact we were playing people who had perimeter shooters that knocked them down, and we had to get out of the press. So, but for those that haven't seen us, when they do come and watch, they'll see an up-tempo style play.
You mentioned 3 of those games. I think 2 of them were against LaRue.
No doubt. They got a really nice team. I really like their team. They beat Elizabethtown last night, and I think they won by 10. LaRue, they beat the defending state champion and the King of the Bluegrass. So, they're familiar with playing high level and playing in big game type situations. And we were down, I think, 4 to them at their place and ended up losing. And then they came over here the other night and just lit us up from the 3-point line. And teams that have a chance to beat them are going to be the teams that have the ability to guard them on the 3-point line.
I mentioned that. I know you got to get through the Greene County game first, but when you look at what LaRue has, I guess, exposed for you guys in those 2 games, what are some of the lessons, though, that you took from those games or your players took from those games?
Well, we talk, and I think every coach that had success, are those coaches that preach help defense. If we're on a team and if the man you're guarding blows by you, I need to be there to help. Mm-hmm. Well, against LaRue, if you help, your man pops. It's pick and pop is what they like to do. And so they set a screen. If you help on the cutter, then your man pops for the 3. And they're very, very good at it. They're very patient. They don't turn the ball over very much. And their games are quicker because they're not looking to hold the ball, but they burn clock because they're so efficient in their motion offense. Mm-hmm. And so teams that, like I say, are going to have a chance against them are those that are going to be able to guard the screen and be able to close. In the coaching world, they call it help and recover. Mm-hmm. Help quick, or help and then a quick recover. If you don't recover quickly against them, they're going to knock the 3 down.
They almost change the equation on the defense, don't they?
They do.
Because sometimes maybe you just would rather give up the layup than the 3.
Yeah. Yeah, in certain situations. And I'll tell you another thing it almost wants you to look at is, even though they shoot the 3 well, you almost consider zoning them in some capacity to keep them from backdooring you so much and worrying you so much about having to guard the 3-point line. Instead, in a zone situation, you're already there and all you have to do is close out. So that's an option that we're probably going to look at a little bit.
Yeah, Tony?
I'm curious, I know that you have a number of young players on your team who will be, who play big roles for years to come. And I'm curious how you work to bring them along as opposed to some of the older ones who have a lot more experience.
Right. Well, the thing you have to be careful of with young players is, in the NBA, they call it game slippage. And what they mean by that is you play so much that you kind of lose your skill. That sounds funny, but that's why The NBA, they still practice. They don't practice as much because they are the best players in the world. At this level, at the high school level, yes, these boys are skilled and they're athletic, but they will lose ball handling, passing ability, shooting abilities, and so you try to touch on those things every day in practice. Even though, about January, you kind of back off a little bit from 2-hour practices, but what we try to concentrate on are those fundamental things daily that we touch on, that we have these guys work on so they don't lose that skill from just playing games.
Coach Steve Barker, I want to thank you for joining us here on Tell Me About It. Thank you for talking to us about your team and the upcoming district tournament. Good luck to you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.